moments and then we will start. Okay, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. So thank you so much for attending. I just want to confirm that everybody can hear me. Um, if you can just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. If you're on the video, I would appreciate it. Okay. All right, awesome. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Um, So what I'm going to ask is there's a smaller group of us, so I'm hoping that we can run through this much quicker than the other two classes. I had like 118 people on the first class and about 60 on the second. So we should be able to run through this fairly quickly. So what I'm going to do is I will be taking attendance in just a few. I will let you know when we're going to do that. For those of you that are on through the through Zoom, you'll be able to type in your first and last name. For those of you that are on an iPhone, you can simply email me, dpalladino@norwalkct.gov. You don't have to do that now. And just let me know that you attended. And if you could just do that by tomorrow morning, that would be great. And I'll go over the attendance in a few. No need to worry about it now. All right, so today we're going to cover what's new, an overview of some of the changes. We're going to discuss Easy Vote 101, which is the platform that we're using in Norwalk to manage poll workers and assignments and training classes. We're going to discuss some housekeeping policies and procedures and code of conduct. We've really seen an increase in need for these types of discussions. So we just want to make sure that everyone is on the same page. Um, and this way, when we have our in-person meetings, um, or our in-person training session, we can really focus on the new tabulators and demo those, so that everybody has a hands-on experience with those. So let's go ahead and get started. I want everyone to familiarize themselves with our team. This is everyone in the office. So Matt Lane is Stuart's deputy. Stuart Wells is the Democrat registrar, and I am the Republican registrar. Matt Lane is Stuart's deputy, and Trinetta Ruffin is my deputy. And then we have Lauren and Katie. They've been here for quite a while. And then we have Tyler, who's our tech guru and assistant. And then we also have Anissa, who many of you I'm sure have met. She temps for us from time to time as well. And I don't think Stuart could be here this evening, but I think most of you have met Stuart. But there's Stuart. and myself. So just so everybody has familiarity with the faces. And keeping in mind that you're not seeing my face now just because I'm in presentation mode, and I want to make sure that everyone can see this slide that's on through the Zoom. All right. So, thanks everyone who participated in the last election. None of this happens without you. Our poll workers truly made history in Norwalk. Norwalk was one of the heaviest early voting sites in the state of Connecticut. So, we did a great job and we're ready to do it again. So, we're going to go ahead and do that attendance now. And the way we're going to do that is I am going to, in a moment, you're going to see something pop up on your screen. And when you see that, if you could please just type in your first and last name. And then with that, if you could also, as I said, if you're not on Zoom for this particular meeting, that's okay. You can go ahead and simply send me an email, and that would be to dpalladino@norwalkct.gov. And I will make sure that you receive credit for the training. There's not many of us on, so no need to stress about that. And for some reason, I am having difficulty launching. Oh, here we go. Here it is. Sorry about that, guys. All right. So here you go. So if you could just type in your first and last name. If you're sitting with someone, if you got together tonight, you can feel free to type their name in as well. And I will make sure that everyone gets credit. And again, just if you can't do it for some reason, just send me an email by tomorrow morning and you'll get paid for today's training. And we are going to go ahead and take attendance one more round a little later just to make sure that everyone attends the full training. All right. And I'll just give everyone a moment to take care of that. Okay. So while everyone's doing that, we'll talk quickly about poll worker um, training pay. So for today's virtual training, you'll be paid $25. And then part two will be held in person. And the training for those classes starts at $40 and up depending on your role. And it's very important if you haven't worked with us before that you either come into room 103 Monday through Friday between, I would say 8:30 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. is a safe bet, but we're here 8 to 4. And you can ask for the onboarding paperwork. We can also send it to you as a jot form if that's preferred. Just email for that information. It is also on our Easy Vote portal under news. However, if you would have to print out the paperwork and either return it to us or you could utilize the jot form. If you have not worked with us, please make sure you get us that onboarding paperwork ASAP. If you have worked with us before, then and you've been paid as a poll worker, then there's no need to worry about any of it. But again, if you have not, please get me that information. Otherwise, I can't get you paid for the trainings. Pay has increased for almost every single role. As a poll worker, I'm happy to report. So if you have any questions about what the payout is, depending on what role you get assigned, feel free to send an email. We're happy to share that information. We'll also have it available at the in-person trainings. When will you get paid? So For the trainings, as I said, I'll go ahead. I have attendance for everyone. You'll receive your payment within 2 weeks. If you have not gotten your onboarding paperwork to me, please do so sooner rather than later so I can include you in the next payroll 2 weeks from now. Um, I highly recommend signing up for direct deposit, even if you just plan to work once. You can still opt in for direct deposit. Certainly much faster and efficient in terms of getting your pay. Keep in mind that if you've worked for us before and you have a name change, or maybe you have a change to the way your tax form is completed or filled out, or if you have new banking information or a new home address, mailing address, that's all very, very important. Immediately send an email to me, dpaladino@norwalkct.gov, so that I can make sure that the City of Norwalk payroll department has the necessary updates. And then, of course, anytime you work for us, with the exception of this virtual training, you will need to fill out a pay sheet, a payroll sheet, and it'll look similar to what you see here if you're viewing the screen.
Mhm.
And you'll always put your time in, time out. If it's simply a training, you'll just note that on the payroll sheet, okay? And for those that don't have direct deposit, keep in mind that your checks will come to our office. We'll let you know when to expect them, and we'll give you an option to pick them up um, on a set day and time frame. If you don't get here that day, they'll just simply be mailed to you.
Okay. Direct
Yeah,
deposit.
direct deposit, yeah.
Okay. And now we're going to go over some frequently asked questions. Some of these might sound silly, but believe it or not, they all have come up before. So that's why it's really important that we go over some of these things. So the first thing is, what do I bring with me to my work assignment? So whether you're doing early voting or you're working at a polling location, we recognize, particularly in a primary and particularly in a municipal election, that the traffic flow might not be as heavy as we would expect. So, of course, you're welcome to bring a book with you, an iPad, things of that nature. We cannot promise or guarantee Wi-Fi, especially if you're at a school polling location. Their Wi-Fi networks are secure, and therefore we don't have access to their Wi-Fi. If there's a guest Wi-Fi or you have a hotspot or you're on a data plan, then of course you can feel free to bring things of that nature, laptops included. If you work from home, a few people have asked, can I bring my laptop and work at the polling location? So yes, as long as it's truly, there are no electors in the voting space, that is fine, but we do expect you to close your laptop when someone walks into the voting location, and to obviously be 110% there should they have any questions. Same thing goes with earbuds. We prefer that you don't have earbuds in. It just doesn't look professional, and you can forget that they're in. You might not hear someone. So we really ask that you don't have earbuds in. If it's truly quiet at your polling location, particularly if it's a primary, you can put them in if you want to listen to something on your phone. No conversations, no phone calls. But again, please be mindful if those earbuds are in, take them out when you have an elector that's coming into you. This is a job, this is a paid position, so we expect you to be as professional, um, as you would be at any work environment. In terms of phone calls, no, you cannot call Aunt Jackie. Of course, if you're on a break, you can step outside. What does outside mean? It means truly stepping outside, not in the way of the voter entry door or exit door, You're welcome to go to your car. You're welcome to go in one of the public areas within the 75 feet. But please, please, no phone calls in the voting area. Keep in mind also for the primary, because that's going to be our focus today. We have confirmed as of 4 p.m. today that we will have a mayoral Democratic primary. So keep in mind that students are in school that day, and we'll go over a lot of that as we go on. Um, One of the biggest questions we get is, do I need to bring food? Will you feed us? So here is the answer. We will provide juice and bagels. Um, we will not provide coffee. So coffee is on you. So you can bring that in the morning from home, or you can check out one of the early spots and bring that with you to your polling location or early voting. With that said, um, bagels and juice will arrive typically between I would say, let's say 7 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. So if you're hungry at 5, either eat something at home or bring something to have when you arrive to your polling location when you get a quick moment. Um, you cannot use a microwave or a refrigerator at your polling location. So make sure it's something quick, easy, and nothing that requires refrigeration or a microwave. But bagels and juice will be provided. Lunch is on you. You will get 1 hour for lunch. You cannot skip your lunch. You have to take it. State labor laws require you to take a lunch break, given the amount of time that you'll be working. If you're working less than, I believe it's 7 hours, then you can omit your lunch if you choose. But just obviously check in, and that would only pertain to people who are working early voting. But otherwise, you must take a lunch and take, usually we recommend taking 2 breaks within your shift. Um, the other thing that we want to mention is dinner. So we will provide cheese pizza. So, and there will be plenty of it. It'll arrive to your polling location likely between 5 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. The polling locations close at 8 p.m. So you'll be able to have cheese pizza. If for some reason you have any allergies, any dietary restrictions, or you simply don't like cheese pizza, please make sure that you have something with you because there is not a dinner break. Um, with that being said, um, moving on, um, if you want to bring any snacks, anything like that, feel free. We will also provide snacks for you. And again, just make sure that you have a water bottle with you if you like it, but we'll also provide water bottles for you. Um, so just keep that in mind if that's your preference, because you won't be able to access the interiors of the school. Um, so in terms of access to the school, things have changed. So we have had some pretty deep discussions with the Norwalk Police Department as well as Norwalk Public Schools. And in the past, we have had situations during primaries where students are in school, and we're finding that voters or poll workers are accessing the interior doors and utilizing the bathroom, things of that nature. As a mom, I'm sure anybody out there, moms, dads, grandparents, can truly understand, and just anyone in the community. We want to keep the kids safe. So it's very, very important moving forward that if you are a poll worker on the date of the primary and students are in session and you're out of school, you must exit the voter entry or exit door. And From there, go through to the main office as if you were a visitor at any school. I know that it's a little bit of a big ask, but it's really, really important not to access those interior doors. If you truly have a medical condition or something of that nature, please get us documentation prior from a doctor. We can work with the Norwalk Police Department. Every single polling location will have a police officer on duty, but no one should access those interior doors. That's a big, big no-no. So if you do need to use the bathroom, you're going to have to go out the voter exit door, and from there go through to the main office with an ID, and you'll check in with either the security guard if that school has one or the main office. And from there, they'll print you a badge with your photo on it and your time in, and you'll be able to then use the bathroom. But that unfortunately is how we have to proceed with that. So I know it's a big ask, but it's super important. Again, if you have to go to the bathroom, just make sure you check in with your moderator and your coworkers so that we can ensure that wherever you're covering in your shift is covered and that no, tables or areas where voters might need assistance aren't covered. I have to bring this up because this, believe it or not, has come up. If you're tired, you may not visit the school nurse and take a nap. If you have a medical emergency, we would recommend obviously dialing 911, or if you need to leave to go to an urgent care or something of that nature, please do so. If it's truly an emergency and a school nurse needs to be pulled for poll workers, we can leave that up to the moderator and the police officer's discretion. But please, no visits to the school nurse as a poll worker. Um, Make sure that you identify who your moderator is at the beginning of your day. In Easy Vote, it will list whom that person is and a phone number if they've provided it. But again, you'll also want to make sure that you introduce yourself that morning and just identify who your moderator and alternate moderator is. Please don't forget to fill out your timesheet upon arrival. It's definitely a big deal not to complete your timesheet. If it's not completed, signed by you, by your moderator, then it delays your pay. So please, please make sure that you do that. Because when I do payroll, I want to make sure that I can just get everybody taken care of ASAP. If a candidate comes in to vote, and then you find that they're shaking hands with voters inside the gym, immediately get your moderator. Your moderator will handle it. If for some reason your moderator is not available, you'll have your alternate moderator. And if all else fails, just feel free to get the police officer assigned to your polling location and they can assist you. We ask for no conflict, nothing but respect. You are representing the city of Norwalk, so please, please just make sure that everything that you do, you handle with kindness. And we'll go through chain of command and roles and things like that. A couple of instances have come up where poll workers have given custodians or staff or principals a hard time about the flag placements at schools. If it looks incorrect, please just make a note and mention it to your moderator kindly and quietly, and they'll from there, take the appropriate action. But again, your focus is on your job role. With that, I will also say, please be mindful. Do not ask anyone if they are a Republican or a Democrat. Obviously, in a primary, you do need to confirm that they're a registered Democrat, but this goes for coworkers as well. You just want to make sure that you remain as nonpartisan as possible. If there's a bake sale at your school, you can most certainly visit as a poll worker. Just make sure that you're not taking more breaks than you're allotted, and make sure that your moderator and coworkers know, and be sure to have cash with you. Okay. And if you don't like any of the food that we're providing, if you go out or if you purchase on your way to the polling location, there is no reimbursement. So, no, you can't submit a receipt or anything like that. We're providing this year bagels and juice. And then, of course, we're providing the cheese pizza. So, there's no receipt reimbursements for anything. The election moderator diary, that is solely for the moderators. No one but the moderators writes in it or views it. And that is just the ongoings of the day. If there are any issues with voters, any machinery, any technology issues, the moderator keeps a diary throughout the day. But please know, as a poll worker, that no one should be writing in the diary, and no one should view it. That's solely for the moderator, who's kind of the chief of the polling location. If there's any leftover snacks, water bottles, pens, please do not take it. It is property of the city of Norwalk. Um, I know some people might say, oh, my husband wants to stop by and visit me. It's a long day. Again, it's a job. So we would ask that you don't do that. Certainly, if you have a break, you can either go off site, you get 1 full hour, and you can, visit, or you can meet for lunch, or you can simply have, whomever you like meet you in the parking lot. But that is all. I mean, it's a place we're all conducting business. So just please be mindful of that. So I think we pretty much covered everything um, there. So again, I know it seems crazy that we're harping on this, but a lot of people, this is a big deal. So, um, and it's a long day, so I get it. So bagels and juice will be provided. Pizza will be provided, cheese only. If you have any dietary restrictions or need to eat at a specific time or have allergies, please bring whatever you need from home. No access to a microwave, no access to a refrigerator. Coffee drinkers, again, coffee is on you. I did some research. It looks like there's plenty of places open early, but definitely double check those times and locations. And like I always tell my kids, you get what you get and you don't get upset. So hopefully, hopefully everybody will be overall happy. You'll definitely won't starve, I can promise you that. Um, Moving on, as I mentioned, the poll worker trainings in person. A lot of it is going to be different because we do have new tabulators. So I would just ask that you keep in mind for those in-person trainings, definitely bring a notebook. Definitely, you know that there are changes to the Norwalk voting environment. So definitely keep that in mind. So I'm going to just quickly pause. I just want to confirm that no one from the team is on. I don't think they are. I think I'm flying solo tonight. If anyone from the team is on, please let me know. No. So with that being said, what I'm going to play is on the next slide, actually, or two, is recorded. So just keep that in mind. Ms. Trinetta, I'll be brief. The new total vote system launch has been pushed back to next year, hopefully. We will continue to use the CVRS, which is the Connecticut Voter Registration System, as we did last year. We had some redistricting and also have new tabulators with great features, which Matt will go into more details about this. Matt, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So yeah, as Trinetta mentioned, the total vote implementation got pushed back, which means for those of you who use the CVRS during early voting, uh, if you got to know and love it, you'll continue to know and love it. Um, the other thing that has not changed is that we will continue to use envelopes for early voting. We'd hope to be putting all of the ballots through the tabulators. Unfortunately, that piece of legislation is still waiting to be passed. So basically, early voting is exactly the same as it was, those of you who are in early voting. A few other changes that are a bit more substantial. Norwalk was redistricted. We used to have 13 districts. Now we have 14. Some of the names have been changed a little bit and the lines have been drawn, been moved around between the districts a little bit. Um, in addition to that, there was a canvass this year, as there is every year. But because it was a post-presidential election, it was a pretty significant canvass. I bring those two items up together because for those of you who are assistant registrars, it means that there'll probably be a lot of electors showing up at the wrong polling locations that may need to be relocated, as well as a lot of electors that may have been deactivated or made inactive due to the fact that they got canvassed and didn't reply in time. Um, all of those processes will be gone over during the in-person training, the assistant registrar specific training, but just to give everyone a heads up that there have been that level of changes. As Trinetta mentioned, we do have new tabulators. We love these new tabulators. They have a touch screen. They give the electors all sorts of wonderful feedback as to, why they may have overvoted or if their ballot has an unreadable mark. But what this means is that the tabulator tenders are going to have to really up their game because we're going to be in a training position. We have to train all of our electors how to use this new technology. It also means that the moderators during a startup and shutdown will need to learn new procedures. All of this will be covered in person during the in-person training, but we need to get ready for a pretty different type of training when we arrive for that in-person training. And finally, just to stay on the tabulators, the reporting process, which used to include printing tapes and writing copies of things in the moderator's return, that's going to change because data will be actually brought back on a memory stick from the polling locations to City Hall. All of this will be covered in person training, just trying to give everybody a heads up onto how that will all change. Another thing that has changed because of the tabulators is the ballots. They will look a little different, not a major change, but for those of you who may have worked in absentee ballot processing where the paper color was unique, that will no longer be the case. There's now going to be color stripes on the ballots, so that's a brief change as well. As you've all discovered and we've talked about, the portal is obviously a big change. Our election portal that we've been using, a poll workers portal. We appreciate everybody who's bearing with us during the implementation of it. I think, as Diana mentioned, it's a big help for everyone. It's an easy way to communicate between City Hall and all of the poll workers. So if you do have some time, please try and get logged on to it. If you have any questions, reach out to us at the email pollworkers@norwalkct.gov. And finally, I think what Diana will announce at the end of this is certain, specific training. We've updated a lot of the role-specific training already, and will continue to do so before the in-person training. The videos have been updated on our YouTube channel. So if you do have some time, go check out our YouTube channel and follow us so that you can get the updated training videos. They are, and Diana or Trinetta, correct me if I'm wrong, I think all the valid ones are up there now, and all the ones that are no longer valid have been taken down. So for those of you who are interested in, seeing how the new tabulators work, seeing how to open or close an election from the moderator's standpoint, a lot of that is actually already out there. You'll be asked to view those if that is your role. And I think that covers in a nutshell all of the major changes and all of the things that we all have to look forward to during the in-person training.
So, if you heard Matt talking about CVRS, that's our Connecticut voter registration system. So what that is it's a database hub that only registrars typically have access to. On election day, the assistant registrars will have access to CVRS. Um, so if you don't know what CVRS is, you don't have to worry about it. It was supposed to be replaced with a new system for the state of Connecticut known as Total Vote. But they did not meet that deadline. So we will not have Total Vote until next year. But again, if you don't know what CVRS is, you don't need to worry about any of that. Early voting, unfortunately, there were no changes. We were hoping that the legislature would allow, instead of the envelope system, meaning if you go to vote, your ballot was then placed in an envelope and held until election day. And then the registrar's office and the town clerk's office would then um, remove your ballot from the envelope and then feed it through the tabulator on election day. Unfortunately, nothing has changed, so we're still using the envelope system. So everything will be as it was in terms of early voting if you've worked previously. If you have not worked early voting, but you plan to work it, we will make sure that you know everything and anything at the in-person training you'll be taught, and it's all pretty fairly easy. Norwalk was redistricted. What that means is some polling locations have changed for some people. It's a very small number of people. We used to have 13 polling locations. We now have 15. Strong communication is going out to voters whose polling location has changed, as well as strong communication will simply go out to all voters as to where they vote on election day. So if electors do show up at the wrong polling location, be helpful and ensure they get to the proper location. And I ask that no one send someone elsewhere to another polling location without confirmation of your assistant registrar and the registrar's office. We want to make sure that we're not turning people away. We've had a few instances, more than a few, where people will come to City Hall or they'll call City Hall because they were sent from Ponus to West Rocks, and then they found out they were supposed to be at Ponus. So we want to make sure that people are given the proper information. So always check with an assistant registrar or moderator before sending someone elsewhere. The new tabulators, in the next slide, Stuart's going to go over that. But the feedback on these has been good. Some towns tested them for referendums, and some also were part of a test program during the presidential election. Elector feedback was that they were much more user-friendly. People liked them. Also, it will give you feedback if your ballot is unreadable, or if you have overvotes, and it will ask you if you want to take back your ballot and correct it. If you don't, you just simply hit submit. It will then say thank you for voting. As a result of the new tabulators, the tabulator tender job has changed slightly. And of course, during the in-person training, we'll go over all of that. Disconnect. Sure.
Well, the tabulators are different, so obviously the moderator job is different. It's easier. Now you've got to learn new, but also
I'm calling in from an iPhone and the audio is suddenly gone dead.
Same here for me on my phone on the Zoom app.
These are just regular Bic pens, so they're not the old heavy marking pens. And we don't want people using anything that bleeds through the ballot because that apparently can cause problems. We don't know how much. We know how these tabulators work, but we haven't seen how the voters are going to react to them and what things may come up that we don't yet know. It seems very likely we'll have a Democratic primary. It seems very unlikely that there'll be a Republican primary. It's nothing we do either way. It's a question of who they nominate. If somebody wants to challenge them, they petition. We have one challenger in the Democratic side for mayor. You probably know about it. But in any event, it seems likely that we'll have a primary. It'll be citywide at our new places. If you're working, you probably want to go see what the tabulator tender does and what the new screen is so you're familiar with it. Somebody may someday ask you a question. Again, it's pretty simple. And if you, of course, you'd have to be a Democrat if it's a Democratic primary, but if you voted, you'll get some experience with it that way. The redistricting is a variety of places, but not very many overall. The major change was that some parts of the center city are now voting at Nathan Hale instead of at Tracy and the library. That's mostly the area right around City Hall, basically the Betswood area and the other side of the river. They're now voting at Nathan Hale. They voted Nathan Hale last year in the presidential election, so they're just as likely to wander in the wrong place and find out it's the right place as be all confused. There are some other changes. If they live around Ponus, it's now part of B, which is the polling place. It was the polling place 4D, but it wasn't in D. Now it is. So those people, and there's a little compensation up on New Canaan Avenue that's going to E instead. Those are the major pieces. There's a couple of other large geographic pieces, but it's because there are it's a very large block with no cross street to be divided on, and hardly anybody lives in some of those. So there aren't too many changes that you're going to have to deal with because of redistricting, and we send them all letters anyway. So most of them should wander in the right place, but they already don't do that. So there's no guarantees. And lastly, obviously, if you've moved in the last year since you last worked, we need to get your new address. If you've changed your name, whatever's happened in your life that would make it different, we need to get all this stuff updated. Between early voting and presidential election last year, we realized we had to have a program to manage all this. It'll just get worse in the future. They may let us open extra early voting locations or something. Keeping track of everybody would basically be impossible without a good computer program to track things. And we'll get the problems with getting signed in on it ironed out eventually. And then to a great extent, once you're in, then you're in, and there'll only be slight changes. So it'll be difficult this year. We apologize, but it'll get better.
Okay. So, I apologize. I know that for a moment there you weren't able to hear part of that. But everything was pretty much a recap of what we had said regarding the tabulators. So with that said, I do want to just briefly address Easy Vote as Stuart did in that recording. So Easy Vote is the platform that we're now using to keep track of our poll workers. So this helps us to assign trainings, scheduling, all of those things. This program is completely new to us and it's completely new to you. We recognize that it's been a little challenging. And it's not the most robust program. There are very few poll worker software programs out there, And believe it or not, this was the most robust one that's available. For a city like Norwalk, we really just need like a central hub. The Excel spreadsheets were just not cutting it anymore, because we have a lot of workers. So internally, this is working great. If you're having difficulties utilizing it, I would say do the best you can, because as you'll see in some of these clips, with Todd from Easy Vote, it can be super helpful. But if you're really, really having difficulty, don't worry. Feel free to just send me an email or send an email to pollworkers@norwalkct.gov, or just call us or stop in, whatever works best for you, and we'll work with you. We get it. You know, new technology sometimes can be challenging. So with that being said, I'm gonna just quickly um, show you Todd's video. And this is on logging
Hello,
in.
and welcome to today's training video. In this short session, we'll walk you through how to log into the EasyVote portal for the City of Norwalk, Connecticut. So let's get started. Step 1. Open your web browser and go to cityofnorwalkt.easypollworker.com. This is the official login page for the poll workers in Norwalk. Step 2, you'll enter in your username and your password. This should be the same one you used during your registration process. Once you've entered a valid username and password, you'll simply be able to hit the sign in. And from there, you'll be able to access your account. This concludes the login process for poll workers in the City of Norwalk.
And of course, if you're on a phone and you're not joining us by Zoom, on a computer or tablet or phone, that you're watching, then you can't view the video. But I will make sure that this is sent via email to everybody. And then this is on how to reset your password.
Today's training video helps poll workers reset their password. All you need to do is go to cityofnorwalkt.easypollworker.com and go down to Forgot Your Password. When you click on Forgot Your Password, you'll need to enter a valid user ID. This is the one that you established when you first registered for an EasyVote account. Once you've entered a valid user ID, hit the next option. You will then receive either a text or an email. This all depends on how you initially set up your account. Once you've received this reset code, you'll be able to enter that code and then type in a new password. From there, you'll log in like you normally do. This completes our training video on how to reset your password.
Okay, and then this next one is just a quick overview. Now, when this was initially recorded, we did not know that there was going to be a primary, and we also had not started to assign classes, training classes. I do want to preference to say that we have, in the last 2 weeks, assigned some people to training classes for the 12th and the 16th. Particularly their ballot clerk and assistant registrar classes. So if you are a Democrat or an unaffiliated and you've received those assignments, then it's likely correct. And that likely was received within the last probably week and a half. Otherwise, if you're seeing an assignment, ignore it for now. And you'll see what I mean when we play this.
Hello, and welcome to today's training. This video is designed to give you a high-level overview of the Easy Poll Worker website for the City of Norwalk. Let's get started. Our first section will be the news section. In this section, you can find about latest news items and announcements. If there's any attached files, you can see them over here on the right simply by selecting the dropdown and then selecting that item. There can be more than one file attached to any one post. Let's go on over to our schedule section. Right now in our schedule section, all work schedules are tentative. So we ask that you not respond to any work schedules until you receive email communication notifying you that all schedules have been finalized. Again, do not respond to any of these work schedule items until you receive email communication letting you know that these scheduled items have been finalized. Once you've received that email notifying you that the schedule has been finalized, all you need to do is click the respond button and either accept or decline that work assignment. If you decline, you must put a reason and save that. The last section is our class section. Everybody who is scheduled to work an upcoming election should have one item scheduled for their training class. That is known as your first virtual training part. In it, you can see a high-level overview, the date and the time of the class. You will receive information shortly about how to attend the virtual training. Finally, do not sign up for any required classes at this point. You will be able to sign up for them after attending the virtual training and once all dates have been finalized. This concludes our high-level overview of the Easy Poll Worker website. Thank you.
So again, a little confusion there, but basically, if you receive correspondence about working the polls in the last week and a half, then it's likely you have been assigned. If you're unsure, feel free to reach out and we will clarify. As of 4 o'clock today, a primary is now confirmed. To access the poll worker software, you would need to go to this link, cityofnorwalk.easy.pollworker.com/login. I did create this QR code if you want to snapshot it, or when you receive the slides, you're welcome to use it. It will take you here. There is no app for Easy Vote, unfortunately. So once you've got the link, we recommend bookmarking it so that you can easily access your portal. At the in-person training, you will receive a document. It's a one-page document, and it's going to offer you the option to opt out of having your personal identifying information shared through the Freedom of Information Act, otherwise known as FOIA. The reason that we have this is after the last election, we received a request from an organization/political group that was requesting all the names of our poll workers as well as their home addresses. And we had great concerns about sharing personal identifying information, particularly in today's political climate. So we contacted the legal department, and fortunately, before we even had to have some serious discussions about how we would proceed, the organization withdrew the request. I'm guessing other towns and cities beat us to the punch and had concerns, and so they ended up withdrawing it. But to avoid this in the future, because FOIA, unfortunately, does allow for municipalities to share the information unless this document is signed. So we are asking that if you want to opt out of having your personal identifying information shared through FOIA, that you sign this at your training class, and we will have that ready and prepared for you. It was prepared by the City of Norwalk's legal department, And basically, instead of your home address, it will be listed as City Hall, 125 East Avenue, and only your first name and your first letter of your last name will be released. And this will be provide protection for 90 days prior to an election, and it continues for 90 days after the election. And again, we'll go over this in person at the training. Roles and responsibilities. Please remember, no partisan politics. Poll workers always should remain neutral. These are the roles. I highlighted assistant registrar. We do need to make it clear if you're an assistant registrar, that means that you must be in front of the computer. You're given a laptop, two laptops, at the polling location, and you must be in front of that laptop all day at the polls, and you must have your headset on. Please, please, I cannot tell you how many times people don't even turn on the laptop. This is the entire part of your job. So if you're not comfortable with laptops, if you're not comfortable with a headset, if you're not comfortable being in front of the camera all day long because you are on a live Zoom, and you're patched into the Norwalk Registrar of Voters office, then please don't accept the assistant registrar position. But we need our assistant registrar to be on the laptop during the entire day. Always keep in mind, you'll be given an oath and sworn in as a poll worker, and your moderator will do that with you at the beginning of the day. This is a primary, so only voters registered with the Democratic Party in Norwalk at the time of the election can vote in the Democratic primary for mayor. Unaffiliated voters and all other parties cannot vote. Republicans are not having a primary. If the voter is not appearing in the checker books or the inactive list as a registered Democrat, send them to the assistant registrar. The assistant registrar is patched into the registrar's office. The only people that should be communicating on that Zoom live is the registrar's office and the assistant registrars at each polling location. And it's very, very important. I'll go over this again in a few, but it's very, very important that only the registrars or someone within the walls of City Hall in the registrar's office is giving information. One assistant registrar to another assistant registrar should not be giving information because in the past there's been misinformation given. So very important to make sure that the communications are from the registrar's office. Here's a quick glance at our polling locations. Remember, if you work during a primary at a school, students are in session. Remember your guest check-in, front desk, main office, even to use the bathroom. It's going to be enforced and come at the direction of the Norwalk Police Department, no exceptions, and you'll have a police officer at every single polling location. Under no circumstances may you enter the school from any point of entry other than the voter door and the main entrance. And we are not using Jefferson School like we did for the presidential. In lieu of Jefferson, we are using the Norwalk Public Library. And we are not using Rowayton Elementary this year due to construction. We will be utilizing Rowayton Middle School. And of course, your poll worker assignments you'll have the address and the information that you need. On the morning of the election at your polling place, the polls open at 6 a.m., not a minute before, not a minute after. Your moderator will take attendance, you'll take your oath, you'll sign your oath, you'll make sure that your payroll sheets are completely filled out with as much information to start as you can. And then, of course, your out times will come later and your final signature at the end of the night. Ensure setup at the direction of the moderator. The only people that are setting up tabulators in the morning are going to be your assistant registrar and your moderator, no one else. The alternate moderator is there to assist. And any crisis, call the registrar's office. Use your assistant registrar who's got a direct pipeline into the ROV office. And of course, if all else fails, call 911, grab your station police officer. But no matter what, we're having an election unless directed otherwise. Um, Within reason, of course. And that's why we have police officers stationed to help you guide. Early voting for the primary is going to start September 2nd and it runs through September 7th. All early voting takes place at City Hall. All early voting starts at 10 a.m. and goes till 6 p.m., except Tuesdays and Thursdays, it goes 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. If you're working for early voting, please arrive 60 minutes early, unless told otherwise. Obviously, for the November election, we'll have early voting as well. We'll go over that when the time comes, but early voting will begin October 20th, and that runs longer, and that runs through November 2nd, and then November 4th will take place at the polling locations. Super important, ADA compliance, language assistant curbside voting. So an elector has the right to pull up to their polling location, see the sign that indicates curbside voting. It will have a phone number and they can request curbside voting. If you are a moderator, please make sure that your cell phone that you're provided by the registrar's office is on and that you can hear it. It is not given to you just for fun. It's given to you because we need you to pay attention to it. So any curbside voting requests, things of that nature will come in through that phone. Anyone can curbside vote while the intent is to assist people with mobility issues. You cannot ask someone why they are opting for curbside voting. If a mom with kids wants to utilize it, anything of that nature, they may do so. And we'll go over the process for curbside voting, who participates in that from an election worker standpoint, and how that's all handled at the in-person training. ADA compliance. Keep in mind that polling locations all have to be ADA compliant. There are a lot of different components that come along with that. Ramps, heights for voting booths, and other doors, the heaviness of a door. So you may find at your polling location that a door is propped open. If it is propped open, it's for a reason. So if you're cold, don't close it. We will have a sign on the door that states it's open for ADA compliance. But if you're cold, if you're hot, unfortunately, there's a reason behind it. And so make sure if you're often cold or often hot, that you have, that you're dressed for all sorts of weather. Language assistance is available. The moderator will be able to direct the individual to the proper machine or assist however necessary. And your moderator will be well versed on language assistance and how to get them what they need. But no one should be turned away for any type of disability or any type of language assistance needed or any type of curbside assistance. Professionalism and respect. Again, unfortunately, we do have to go over this. The biggest thing to take away from this is role of authority. So only the moderator has the authority in the polling place to speak to a voter, to speak to an election worker, to register a complaint with staff at the polling location. if in the absence of the ROV. However, the moderator is directed in any type of conflict to contact the registrar's office first and foremost. So no one should be handling anything, unless it's truly some kind of an emergency. And in that situation, you're going to grab your police officer. The Register of Voters ultimately makes all decisions. No one is the boss of anyone. So please, please keep that in mind. All voters and coworkers should be treated with dignity. It's a safe, inclusive environment for all. Never turn away voters without notifying the moderator, and the moderator will communicate eligibility issues to the assistant registrar with the guidance of the ROV office, either via phone or through the Zoom direct into the ROV office. So before sending a voter elsewhere, check in with us. Poll workers who breach our code of conduct or role of authority will be asked to end their shifts. And I must state, never judge anyone by appearance. Any attire is acceptable unless it has a candidate name on it. Their circumstances will apply as well. And if for some reason someone's wearing something that they have a candidate name on them, then of course you're going to want to ask your moderator to handle it kindly and appropriately. And if anything escalates, they'll ask the police officer to assist. Remain calm and professional at all times. If a school leader, staff, principal, custodian, or anyone has a complaint or grievance, please have your moderator contact the Registrar of Voters office. All of these people, principals, custodians, the heads of the library, they all have our information and my cell phone number. So they should know to contact us. But if they're coming to you, no one should attempt to handle any conflict. Everyone should be respectful. You're representing City Hall, so just please keep kind, be calm. Again, room 103, your connection to the polling location is going to be your assistant registrar. So everything is filtering through the assistant registrar who's on that Zoom call. If you need any assistance, please make sure you go direct to your assistant registrar. They'll have the registrar's office not on speed dial, but live there. And they can simply request that the registrar assist live on Zoom. And again, this is not a platform for other assistant registrars to chat, to communicate, say hi, what are you having for lunch? What are you doing? None of that. This is truly a platform where it's room 103 to the assistant registrar, and we're communicating about things that are going to come up throughout the day. The moderator, of course, can go to the assistant registrar and speak to the room 103 if needed, alternate moderator, and then the cell phones at each polling location, the moderator will have those, or the alternate moderator, and they can also, if someone is assigned to assist with curbside, other than the moderator or alternate moderator, they can ask their curbside assistant to help monitor the cell phone. If the press comes in, which they will, voters are casting ballots. We want to make sure that no one's ballot is seen on camera. Protect voter privacy and the secrecy of the ballot. We want to prevent voter intimidation or disruption of any voting process. So always maintain order in the polling location. If there's any issues, again, your moderator or police officer is going to handle this. Any interviewing candidates or conducting exit polls must take place outside the 70-foot zone, so 75-foot zone. So just please be mindful that if you see a news crew, interviewing, just ask them politely to please, move outside. In Connecticut, voters are prohibited from taking photographs of their completed ballots. So Taking photos inside the polling place are limited, especially if it interferes with the voting process or invades any privacy of voters. The moderator will control these activities kindly, and just keep in mind, however, that a polling place, once deemed a polling place, is a public location, a public facility, and as long as there's no interference or voter privacy breach, if someone's taking a selfie with their sticker on or something of that nature, as long as it's not near any ballots, it's fine. And then, of course, just remember as a poll worker that all polling sites have cameras and live Zoom feeds throughout the entire day. So, where, of course, those cameras are mindful of voter privacy and their ballots, but just remember you're on camera. um, that's pretty much everything there. So yes, the press is welcome. They should probably check in with the moderator upon arrival, and they just need to know that they can't take any pictures of ballots. Any interviews need to be conducted outside of the 75 feet, but they're welcome to come in and do their thing. Poll workers should not take any interviews, anything like that. Certainly nothing political. So yeah, just keep in mind, this is your community. Poll workers are employed at will, so we reserve the right to ask you to end your shift at any time. So please, please be professional at all times. We do a lot of community outreach, so just keep in mind, community is very important to our office. The executive order is not in place. So for those who have heard about it, it does not apply to 2025. So please keep in mind that the state of Connecticut acceptable forms of identification are a driver's license, a credit card with a signature on the back, a student ID, of course, a passport, a utility bill, a library card, a Costco card with your photo on it, a social security card. If you do not have ID and someone comes to vote, if all else fails, they may sign an affidavit. So just keep that in mind. I actually had an incident at Marvin School where I went to vote. I had been away. I left my driver's license in my beach bag and my wallet, and did not have anything on me. I was turned away for voting, knew I should not be. So that was a big no-no. I did go home and just get my license, but of course, I'm utilizing it in training now, as an example, that's a big no. Those checkers were not correct. So when you arrive at the polling place, you're asked to present one of the following forms of ID. So that is going to be any form of ID that shows your name, address, or name and signature, or name and photograph. So if you're a checker, poll workers, familiarize yourself, a driver's license, even if it's expired, a utility bill, a bank statement, a paycheck, a government check. And if you don't have ID, then you will simply you will have to sign a sworn statement. It's called the ED-681. And it is under penalty of law, that you are a registered voter. But people do have that option. So please do not turn anyone away without checking in with your moderator and the ROV office. So, in conclusion, a utility bill is an acceptable ID, and a photo ID is not mandatory. No matter what your thoughts or opinions are, it's important to understand the law and to follow the law. If you have no idea at all, then the person can sign an affidavit and still vote. Time commitment, logistics on election day, 5:15 a.m. We ask you to arrive. Custodians will open your polling locations promptly at 5 a.m. If your location is not open, your moderator will contact the ROV office. We don't need 500 people contacting us. So if your moderator's late, then that's one thing. But if your moderator's there, have your moderator reach out. Split shifts are sometimes allowed, but not typical. If you have not been assigned a split shift and you haven't had one in the past, you're probably not going to get one. So if you want to be a poll worker, it's a full 15-hour day. We do our best to pair spouses and friends together, but we can't promise. So please don't ask unless you really depend on each other for transportation. Early voting, absentee ballots, we'll provide further details, but those people will have training classes as well. And for those shifts, they'll arrive 60 minutes early. And most of that, as mentioned, takes place at City Hall. Um, who comes back to City Hall after the polling location closes? The moderator and the alternate moderator. Who signs the printout tapes with results? That's going to be a moderator and assistant registrar. Checkers are going to complete a checker sheet and sign. And the other people that sign at the close of the polls are going to be the ballot clerk. And again, all this will be gone over during the in-person session. Someone will be designated to stand at the end of the line and not allow any additional voters. But if they're lined up by 8 p.m., then indeed they can vote. So just keep that in mind. Any issues with that, grab your police officer, he'll take it from there. Under no circumstances should anyone take voters' ballots back to City Hall after the close of the polls. Nobody should. That's a huge violation. So no one should handle ballots from voters. They stay locked in the ballot box, and we have a very, lawful protocol as to where those ballots and how they're picked up, how they're handled, everything. So no one should come back to City Hall with ballots. If you are not a moderator and an alternate moderator at the end of your shift, make sure that your moderator dismisses you, make sure that your payroll sheet is completely filled out, that you've signed it, and that you've given it to your moderator. Okay? And make sure you put your lunch in, your lunch out, your break out, your break in. You get 2 of those. And just keep in mind, you don't have to do bathroom breaks, but just, don't get crazy. Just go to the bathroom and come back. And that's everything. And your moderator will bring all of this back to City Hall, okay? And just don't leave until your moderator says you can go, keeping in mind that many of the job roles require your signature on some documents at the end of the night. Onboarding, we went over this. If you need an onboarding packet, if you have not worked for us in the past, if you have any changes, email me, dpaladino@noroct.gov. I know some of you on this call have already come in for the packet. Thank you. The sooner you get it to us, the sooner we get you paid. Training, I think early on in the presentation in one of the recordings, Matt mentioned we do have a YouTube channel. I highly recommend you check out our training videos on YouTube. They don't take the place of your required trainings, that they're great ways to build confidence and learn, recap, watch, and be ready. There are videos about how to unpack, at the beginning of the day as a moderator. There's all sorts of videos. So I highly, highly recommend checking those out. We have a Facebook page, Norwalk Register of Voters Connection Info Center. Like and follow us on Facebook. We're on Instagram too, but haven't been great with that, but we'll get there. When is training? So, okay, if you're on this call and you're not a registered Democrat and not an unaffiliate, then you likely are not going to work the primary. So if you took the class, don't worry, you'll still be paid. And we'll invite you to work during early voting, October, November, or simply at the November 4th election, whatever your preference is. Even though it's a Democratic primary, we are bipartisan, so we work together. So I will be helping, during the Democratic primary, but most of our workers are going to be Democrat and unaffiliated. Here are the training classes. Now that we have confirmed as of 4 p.m. today that we are having a primary, there's probably some ridiculous communication that's going to start to go out. So just bear with us. By Monday, everybody in Norwalk should know we're having a primary. We're going to send out notices to all registered Democrats and let them know where they vote and let them know about early voting, the times, the polling locations, all of that. And so here are the training dates. You'll see the first training in person starts on August 12th. Just keep in mind it's by invite only. So look out for an email from Matt, Stewart, or myself, and we will make sure that if we want you to work, you are attending the training. Please get back to us ASAP. If we don't hear back from you, then we don't know you want to work, and then we look for somebody else. If you've already contacted us about working, then yes, we know, and we will start to assign everyone now that the primary is a go. For the general election, here's just a quick snapshot of what we've got on tap, but obviously we will reach out. So yes, if you work the primary, you still have to take training again for the general election, but it's paid. And if you're a moderator and you need to get recertified, we will be in touch. We have those list of people that need them, and we will hold those classes. So that is pretty much everything. Um, okay. All right, perfect. So with that being said, are there any questions? If you feel good about everything, you're welcome to leave. If you have some questions, feel free to unmute yourself and feel free to ask away. I'm happy to stay on and answer any questions that are needed.
Well, I just want to thank you for the meeting. That was it. I heard everything. I hope everyone had a great night.
Thank you so much. And if you were on an iPhone and called in, just please email me and let me know that you were on the call. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I was on Zoom. I sent the message thing, but if you pause.
Perfect. All right, everybody.
Alrighty. Thank you, y'all. Have a good night.
Thank you. Anyone else have a question?
All right now, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank
Good
you.
night.
Okay. Whew.
All right.
I just texted her.
Okay.
Just